So let's do talk about that. Let's dive in. Like okay. Man, I've been thinking about this builders. Training all day today. Just like what I wanted to talk. Like I really feel like right now is a very crucial time in Equis Financial. I feel like it's crucial is an understatement. I feel like that it's a time to make massive moves, and so on this builders training tonight, I really want I want to give you like everything, like I want to spell it out. Like if you've got a pen and a piece of paper, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to fill out. I'm going to fill out like a notepad of stuff, because I mean I've got like a notepad of stuff to give you. Okay, but I want to keep it simple. But if you're looking to build an agency in Boston, Massachusetts, if you're looking to build an agency and run an office in Louisville, Kentucky, if you're looking to build an agency and run an office in Baton Rouge or Houston, Texas, or Dallas, Texas, or Sacramento, California, I mean, at some point in time, somebody's going to plant the Equis flag out in California, and they're going to blow it up. I mean, they're going to blow it up, because that's a huge market that we're not even tapping into. So 4 steps to first tier equity bonus. 4 steps to first tier equity bonus. Okay. Once we cover these, we're going to be done. I know I don't know how many people got on the Zoom tonight. May not be many, but I mean, I know we got the national championship basketball on. I'm definitely going to watch the second half. I mean, I'm pulling for Virginia. You know, I don't know if we've got any Texas people on here. I think Texas Tech's a great story too. I mean, would I be sad if Texas Tech won? No. I mean, I think these are two great. The coaches that are coaching these two teams, I think are phenomenal. So, anyway, so if we were the coach of one of those two teams, like how did they build those teams? What was the thought process and the mindset to build those two teams? Okay. So number one, let's talk about you, because you are the magic. If your team's going to grow, it's going to be because of you and the actions that you take. It's going to be because of you and the 10 times action, the 10 times thought process. It's going to be because of you. It's not going to be because of Equis. There's a ton of people out there making the mistake of thinking Equis is supposed to grow my business. Equis is not going to grow your business. Nobody's going to grow your business but you. So if you're ready to plant your flag and grow your business tonight, I promise you, I will give you what you need. Here's what you've got to promise me though. When you hear things that feels like maybe I'm stepping on your toes a little bit, you can't let it offend you. You got to correct and move on quickly, okay? We all have to correct and move on quickly, okay? So number one, if you're just getting started, your site's set on Ignite, okay? First 45 days of being contracted, you want to hit Ignite, getting a minimum of 3 applications issued paid for $2,700, okay? So we're gonna before we go to step 2, we're gonna take care of you, okay? There's 4 things that you have to do in order to succeed. So if you're brand new on here tonight, I'm telling you, there's 4 things that you have to do. If you're not willing to do these 4 things, I'm just going to tell you, I don't know how Equis is going to work for you. Okay, but if you want to know, like, tell me what I got to do to make money. Tell me what I got to do to succeed. There's 4 things you have to do. Number 1, you have to listen. You have to listen. Number 2, you have to work smart. When you listen, and we call it listening a lot, when you listen, then that sets you up to work smart. If you don't listen and you go off half-cocked in these different directions, That's not working smart. So listen a lot, work smart. I was talking to one of our leaders on text yesterday, and he was talking to a guy that, gets a batch of leads and doesn't talk to him all week. The guy's complaining about his results, but he won't talk to my leader during the week. He won't let him troubleshoot. Like, do you see why that's not going to work out long term? Either that guy will fade away and he'll probably type some negative things about how Equis didn't work, but really it could have been avoided, and he could have been instructed a lot better, and he could have probably won big here. Okay, so number one is listen a lot. Number two is work smart. Number three, you got to learn how to produce. Okay, you got to learn how to produce. And you know what? When we're getting you started, our focus is on getting deposits going into your checking account. Okay, so getting some inventory leads, you have to set up your mindset that I've got to make these haystacks. Okay, I've got to sit down on Saturday morning and I've got to start making these dials. And they start telling me I got to start tracking my dials. Because either I got to book 10, 15 appointments or 250 dials, whichever comes first, right? I got to do haystacks. And these haystacks are dials. Out of every 10 to 15 dials, how many phone scripts am I reading? Out of every phone scripts that I'm reading, how many appointments am I booking? What John Kight tells me is that if I do 250 dials on a Saturday morning, then I'm gonna set myself up to win that week. I'm gonna set myself up to win, to make money. So number one is listen a lot. Number two, work smart. Number three is you gotta produce. You gotta start ringing the bell. You gotta start writing applications. And number four is you have to associate. Number one on association is we have our Monday morning kickoff call at 11 a.m. every Monday. If you've got a full-time job, it's going to be tough for you to plug into, but you can listen to the recording as soon as it's posted, okay? So association, reading, listening, attending events. I'm just going to tell you, some of you guys, you haven't committed yet to going to an Equis Tough event. I don't care which city it is. I don't care if it's Atlanta, Orlando, Baltimore, Vegas, Columbus, Ohio, Dallas, Texas. I don't care. I'm just telling you, if you're serious about building your business and you want to win really bad, you can't afford not to go to one of those. You can't afford not to go and put your eyeballs in front of Barry Clarkson and say, Barry, I'm serious about being first tier equity bonus. I'm serious about being a regional manager. And I'm working to get my eyeballs in front of you. It's important, okay? So those are four things that you have to do getting started to win at Equis Financial. Okay, now, there's 5 steps that all leaders do. 5 steps of being a leader, okay? Number 1 step of being a leader is what? Is listening. Listening. There's different levels of listening. I've got people around me that do not grow, and I'm just telling you, these people do not ask questions either. These people do not seek to learn. I'm not saying they don't seek to learn. I'm just saying that they do not seek to learn from me, which I'm just telling you, that's not a big thing. Like, okay, but listen, seek to learn from somebody. Seek to learn from somebody. And when you seek to learn from somebody, you put yourself in a powerful position of listening, okay? So there's different levels of listening. One level of listening is to yourself, okay? I'm not going to get spiritual tonight, but that's a big thing there. Big thing. Like pretty woman, big thing. Big mistake, right? Big. So number 1 is listen. Number 2 is work. Work is what? As a leader, what's work? Well, work as a leader is that every week I'm doing my personal production. Every week I'm doing my personal production. Why? Because my team needs me to lead. And every week I'm working, building my business. I'm doing interviews. I'm doing follow-ups. I'm getting people started. I'm doing everything that needs to be done to grow my business. So that's what work is. Work's not just S quadrant. As a matter of fact, when I talk about the 5 steps of being a leader, the work part of it, I'm very little bit is personal sales. Personal sales should be on autopilot for the leader. So the work that you're doing as a leader is B quadrant work. Work on expanding your business, interviewing people, qualifying, selecting right people and offering them slots and bringing them. Guys, it's no big deal for me to ICA somebody. It's no big deal for me to tell somebody to come aboard my team. What's a big deal is for me to have somebody come aboard my team that I actually take my personal time and I help. Now that's a big deal. And that's where you got to start looking at the quality of person that you're bringing on board. Okay. So number 1 is listen. Number 2 is work. Number 3 is what? Number 3 is figuring out how to get results. What kind of results, John? B quadrant results. Results meaning what? Results meaning last week I interviewed 15 people. I sent out 9 ICAs. I got 7 ICAs back. And now I'm getting started. I've got 5 or 6 sharp people this week that I'm actually moving into the process. I've got conference calls lined up. I've got interviews lined up with their warm market friends. I'll say that again because that's a big one that y'all aren't doing. You hire somebody and all you're thinking about is S quadrant. All you're thinking about is how do I get them started? Well, I'll tell you how to get them started. Hire somebody for them. No, John, that's not what I mean. How do I get them started? Oh, you mean like how do you get them like to be the field underwriter of the world? Like, I don't know if you ever figure that out. How about letting me know? But I'll tell you the mistake we all make is we dive in and we start teaching them about product and all this stuff, and then it's about 3 weeks later we haven't hired anybody for them, and we can't find them anymore. Oh man, oh no. You see what I'm saying? So that we have to stop that. We have to pivot. We have to go in a different direction there. So number 1 is listen a lot. Number 2 is work smart. Work smart meaning what? Business building activities. Number 3 is figuring out how to get results. How do I figure out how to get results? Figure out how to hire people. Up in back, the guy that sent me that question a while ago, you're up in Boston. That's a great area. Kristen Brockman gave y'all a shout out today. How do you grow a business up there? Well, let's start hiring some people. How do we hire people? We check interest. How do we check interest? Are you open to the idea of making some money on the side? I developed distribution channels for top A-rated insurance carriers. Are you interested in that? Would you like to find out more? I'm checking your interest. No or yes. Hurry up and give me an answer. No or yes. If it's no, then it's good talking to you. If it's yes, then let's set up a further conversation. So number 1 step of being a leader is you listen, different levels of listening. Number 2 is work, B quadrant work. Number 3 is we figure out how to get results, which is what? Width. We start hiring people. We start getting people to want to be in business with us. Number 4, once we start getting width and we start getting results, we plug in tighter. We stay plugged in. The natural tendency of people that start getting results is instead of plugging in, they start drifting. You see that? You see that pinky finger drifting? That's not good. That's not good. So when you start getting results, you also have the ability for your ego to get out of whack, and you have the ability to pull away from what's the strength, and the strength is in your growing upline. So stay plugged in. Number 5 step, 5th step of being a leader, you have to learn how to handle the negatives of life with a positive attitude. Keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. Everything's going to be great. Everything's going to be fine. There's very few challenges that we have that new width won't solve. Okay, I'll say that again for some of y'all. There's very few challenges. For an underwriter, there's very few challenges that another 8 to 10 applications this week wouldn't solve, right? For a field underwriter, am I right? That's right. For an agency builder, there are very few problems that can't be solved by what? New width. Most agency builders, when they start getting into solving people's problems and all this stuff, they stop getting new width and they start working with the same old people who always seem to be getting ready to get ready to get ready. That's when agency builders start to get burned out. Agency builders never get burned out if they're talking to new people and talking about the new steps, the basics of succeeding in Equis Financial. So we're still on you. We're still right there on you. 4 things you have to do, 5 steps of being a leader. These are the 3 things that I typed out the other day, and it's something that I've been taught since 1993. But this is crucial because people that win in Equis Financial, people that win in business, they have a 3 major focus. Number 1 is on character. Character is big. 3 steps of building characters. Number 1, working. Number 2 is being teachable. And number 3 is being accountable. Your word is good. The second area of focus is production. Why? Because that's distribution. That's how we get paid. 2 ways of creating distribution. I talked about them tonight. Number 1 is personal production. Number 2 is agency production. Personal production, agency production. Personal production, agency production. How you doing in those areas? How are you doing in those areas? Is your team growing? Is it growing? Why or why not? Let's interrogate reality and let's ask ourselves some tough questions. The third area of focus is this thing called association. It's the most powerful force in the universe. We associate when we read. Reading is a performance-enhancing drug. We associate when we listen to conference calls. The Monday morning kickoff call this morning was dynamite. Dynamite. 2 great success stories. Ollie Collins killed the book review, but it was just a dynamite call. There's nobody that listened to that call, that 33 or 34 minute call, and got off and was not more excited when they got off than when they jumped on. We've got our Tuesday morning leaders call tomorrow, more of a team call. And so you plug in. Plug in. Association's huge. But that's you. Did I cover that good enough tonight? Like, seriously, I really want, I want that to be a focus, because if you can get you right, then these other areas tend to fall into place. If you can get you right. Number 2 is, I'm sorry, guys, my nose is itching. Number 2 is going sales manager. Okay, so this is a 4-step process to the first tier equity bonus. So what's step number 2? Step number 2 is width. It's going sales manager. I even made a couple of visual guides tonight. So let me get out my sales manager guide. Here's sales manager guide. Sales manager. And sales manager's 3 unique writers with a total of 12,000 issue paid. You'll see that. How do we do that? We go wide. We put in a batch of width. We put in, I say 7 to 9. Right here, I've got 9. And out of 9, what are we going to find? See, that rhymes, doesn't it? Out of 9, what we going to find? We're going to find us three good people. We're also going to find us a couple of people that'll be getting ready to get ready, and we'll find a couple people that really won't take another step. But width is good. Width helps us to identify right people. So why did we put in that batch of people? To find these 3 right people. The mistake most people make is they don't know how to find right people. They think finding right people is getting lucky. Finding right people is not getting lucky. Finding right people is it's a function of structure. So go wide. Go out there and go 7 to 9 wide. What's going to happen out of that? You're going to find a couple good ones. You're going to find a couple bad ones, and you're going to find a couple that'll just like be teeter-tottering on that fence. But putting in a batch of width that helps you identify those people. It's your best friend. So what is number 2? Number 2 is qualifying sales manager. 7 to 9 wide. Structure produces the result of right people. So let's analyze number 2 before we go on to number 3. So what's going on at number 2? Well, number 2, you're still personally producing, but your personal production has developed into a habit. It's developed into a routine. I make my dials on Friday afternoon or Saturday morning. I go run my appointments on Monday, Tuesday, maybe some Wednesday, but Monday and Tuesday I go run my appointments. I write my 5, 6, 7 applications, and man, I'm ready to go, because that gives my cash flow. That gives me the cash flow glow. That creates cash flow coming in every single week. Do I have some chargebacks? Yes. But the chargebacks never matter when you've got mounds of business being issued. Do you understand that? Create mounds of business being issued, and chargebacks are never a challenge. So your personal sales is a habit that gets up and running. Width, your new width, I think is mostly a function of your warm market. Okay? If you don't want to call your warm market, then your width would have to come from, I don't want to give it away, cold market. That's right. Cold market width tends to be a little bit, it's a different beast, only because you aren't dealing with the sharpest people in the world. And so you do have to set up some filters to make sure that, hey, here's what the filters say. The filters say this: I don't have time to interview people that are not what I'm looking for. Now, it's not to say that I don't have time to interview people that aren't going to be interested, because that's just the nature of the beast, right? I typed up something the other day that talked about the end of the beast, the nature of the beast. But the more I can talk to people that at least have the raw materials that I'm looking for, the better for me. Does that make sense? So we set up filters. So that's number 2, your qualified sales manager. Congratulations. High five. Boom. Now what do? Let's go to number 3. What's number 3? Let's make our REM run. Come on, man. REM, regional manager. Average regional manager bonus, $1,500 every 30 days. Come on, man. Let's go REM. How do we go REM? So this is the cream. This is the cream that came out of your first batch. Do you see where I've started drawing some depth? We've gone 4 deep in our strongest leg, and we've also helped this person hire a couple of people and this person. But do you see some depth going on in there? Do you see some depth? So while we're securing the good seed out of our first batch, we also come over here and put in a second batch of 7 to 9. So let's analyze number 3. Let's analyze regional manager. Number 1, you're personally producing. Habit, routine. Number 3, you're checking interest and you're going wide. That's also become a habit. And in addition to that, you're working probably with your upline. If you're smart, you're not like, don't want to do a Lone Ranger, but working with your upline on building some depth and getting at least one leg, at least one of those people. We want to get at least 1 4 deep. And how best to get 4 deep? Then I'm going to give you guys a tool. Here's a tool. It's called a kitchen table opportunity meeting. Don't need a hotel room. Don't need a screen. Don't need a projector and a screen. Don't even need a whiteboard. It's called warm market at your kitchen table or their kitchen table. Get 3 or 4 people around and go, hey, let me show you Equis Financial. Let me show you right here, Equis Financial. Let me show you these carriers, Mutual of Omaha, Transamerica, AIG, Columbian Financial Group. We've got this guy named Bill Martin who runs this thing called a training center, and that's kind of like our system, our Hamburger University. Over here, we've got just some really cool resources that will come to play at different times in your business. But we're going to funnel this down to you. The biggest thing of those resources that will come into play day one will be our ability to create leads. Let me explain leads versus new leads versus inventory leads and how you can get started on a shoestring budget. Guys, go to somebody's kitchen table and start sharing the opportunity. If the only time you're looking to share the opportunity is at a hotel, I mean, like, come on, man. Like, man, let's go out there and do some one-on-ones. Let's go drink some coffee with people and let's start showing them Equis. Let's go get to a kitchen table. If you're not at you will not be. This is going to be good. This might set somebody free on the tonight Zoom. You will never build depth in a hotel room. If you're going to build depth, you're going to get out of that hotel room. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with hotel meetings. I love hotel meetings. The dynamics in hotel meetings are incredible. The association's incredible. But don't confuse that with building depth. If you're going to build depth, it's going to get you into somebody's kitchen table. It may be on a follow-up. It may be following up with a sharp person that came to your hotel meeting. The next step is not come back to the hotel meeting. The next step is me going to your house, sitting down at your kitchen table or sitting down at your couch with you and your spouse, kind of making this thing come to life. How does that look for you? Do you know it? You do know a couple people that you think would be interested as well? Well, I tell you what, I'll come back over here to your house and we'll actually share the opportunity with them in private. You'll never build depth in a hotel room. So regional manager, this is a big step. This is a big boy step. Guys, regional manager is $250,000 a year income at Equis Financial. So you're personally producing, you're driving depth, you're putting in new width. And do not, I'm not going to apologize that you're working your butt off. I'm not going to apologize. You're making $250,000 a year. What do you expect? And I'm going to tell you, you're right on the verge of something major happening in your life and your lifestyle. So let's cover that now. Number 4, I've got written down depth and width. Well, up here I had width and depth. That's pretty slick, isn't it? So up here, my focus is on more width. I'm driving a little bit of depth, still personally producing. Down here, I don't know if you're still personally producing. I don't know that. That is like, you could be, but you could also have the debt structure where you don't have to be. There are a lot of people that would be free at that level from ever having to go personally produce ever again. But it's all depending upon you, your nature, what you want to do, and what your debt structure says that you have to do. That's what it depends on. So number 4, you're making your run to financial freedom, true duplication, and it involves depth. Yes, you're putting in a little bit of width, but here's the thing, guys. Width is something that you do every day. It's habit. Width is just talking to people, and the more successful you become, the more people want you talking to them. You start to become successful, people can see it. It oozes out of you. It's who you are. So number 4, okay, you ready? So number 4, I've got major depth going on. I've got major kitchen table, cups of coffee. I've got major depth going on. Look at the depth I've got going on in this organization. You think I've got some people competing in that organization? Yes. People competing with each other, people growing. This leg too. This leg's competing with that one because this leg is not as big as that one, but this leg wants to be bigger than that one. So this leader, if that leader's smart, is doing nothing but talking about overtaking that right there. Overtaking it, outgrowing it, putting their numbers up in front of them every week, giving them something to shoot for. This one over here is competing against those two. This one over here, same thing, got a little bit of depth. Y'all see that? Y'all see that? This is like a really, really cool thing to visualize right here. But what you have going on when you have that type of depth, you see this guy with this guy's width? What have you found right there? Now, you found him 4 in depth. Now, I put him 4 in depth, but sometimes you get 4 in depth and you find him up here. But what I say is you can't go 4 in depth without finding a major total duplicator. You can't do it. Prove me wrong. You can't go 4 deep without finding a major duplicator. But you're not going to go 4 deep in a hotel room, right? Right. See this guy with a major width down here? Boom. Done found your duplicator. Guy's out running. The guy's out hustling. The guy's drawing people to him. He's got a magnetic personality, man. Now all of a sudden you break your first regional manager. First tier equity bonus. So you got your regional manager bonus. You got your first tier equity bonus. You got an organization. You got a great organization. You got a base shop. You got a tremendously healthy base shop. And that base shop, if you treat it properly, that base shop is going to do nothing but spit out regional managers. It's what Barry Clarkson calls a regional manager producing factory. So you know what I need to do? Got to build more depth. Got to build more depth. Got to build more depth. What do you need to do? Did we talk about it tonight? Let's see, we've got some questions up here. 6 questions. Okay. Please explain a manager and equity bonus. Okay, so the regional manager bonus comes in when you're a qualified regional manager. You get a percentage of your production on a monthly basis. You get a percentage of that. Equity bonus, you're actually getting a percentage of all of Equis Financial. So good question there. What is an ICA? Good question. ICA is an invitation that when we check interest on somebody and they say, yes, that interests me, then I'm going to send them an invitation. And ICA stands for Independent Contractor Agreement. Independent Contractor Agreement. So I send that invite to my new person, which is an ICA. It's an Independent Contractor Agreement. They click sign. They click e-sign, send that back in, and then that's a signed ICA. Then that person gets their Equis Financial or EF number. Good question there, Felicia. Anonymous attendee. How do you learn to get business approved quick? Well, that's a great question. Most of my apps sit down waiting for approval, usually 15 to 30 days. Okay, that's not good. So whoever the anonymous attendee that said that, if you're waiting 15 to 30 days, now we'll tell you it could be a factor of several things. So we do need to troubleshoot there. So if you want to give me a quick text, if you're willing to come out of the closet and not be anonymous, maybe we can help you a little bit there. Here's our main goal, anonymous. Our main goal is to get you paid as quickly as possible. There are some times we can't help that it takes 15 to 30 days for it to get issued, but there are other times when we can stay on top of it and get it issued much, much quicker than 15 to 30 days. So thank you for the question there. What happens if we are not licensed and we bring on agents? Good. Well, the only activity that you can do here if you're not licensed is hire other agents. Now, if you were in my organization and you started bringing to me agents, I'm going to preserve your hierarchy. In other words, the agents that you bring to me, I'm going to go ahead and get them started as soon as they're willing, but you need to hurry up, because the best I can, I'm going to preserve the hierarchy, and the people that you brought to me, I'm going to put them under you when you get your license. But you need to hurry up. There's a shelf life to that. So Felicia, that's a great question. But if you bring me 3 or 4 people and they get licensed and contracted and you're still sitting around twiddling your thumbs, I mean, what do you want me to do? Okay. But this is a great question. And to the best of my ability, I'm going to make sure that those people that you brought to me, that eventually I'm going to get them under you, but you got to move. Okay. Can we build while getting a license? It's recommended. And I'm sorry that we don't talk more about that. But yes, you can build while you're getting a license. We like for you to build while you're getting a license. Okay. All right, that's all the questions there. 10 o'clock. Man, I hope that you got a lot from tonight. I mean, like I wanted to pour out so much into you that matters. Like, and I know we could have spent more time on each one, but I think we spent enough time for you to really know about each one. Number one, you, making you work, developing you, growing you, your cash flow. Number two, sales manager. You start to attract people to you. You go out there and you go wide. Number three, width and depth. Width, because all leaders are wide. Width, start building a little bit of depth. Qualify regional manager. and then boom, make your big move. But depth is a big part of making your move. It's not, see, a big mistake that people make is they always stay in width. And at some point in time, if you want a big organization, you got to drive depth. And that's my conviction. I've got to drive more depth. I've got to drive more depth. I've got to look for people that are ready to build their business, and I've got to simply get in more planes and more cars, planes, trains, and automobiles, and I've got to get my eyeballs in front of them, because depth does not get built by accident, and depth does not get built at an opportunity hotel meeting. I got to build depth. Thank y'all for listening and allowing me to figure out what I need to do. I'm now excited. I'm going to go read my 10 times book like crazy. I might not even watch the second half. I don't want to backslide. I'm so excited right now, I can't stand it. So excited. Depth, depth. God bless you guys.